My name is Giselle Gittins-Peters, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Tobago Regional Health Authority's Internship Program. I am extremely pleased to bring warm greetings and officially welcome you to our year 2025. As part of its corporate social responsibility, the Tobago Regional Health Authority, under the auspices of our Secretary of Health and our Board of Directors, would have taken a decision in 2023 to host our first internship program. This is our third year. You are our third year. You are part of this hat-trick experience that we are calling Internship 2025. Did I mention that we are happy to have you? Yes. Yes, we are.
It is truly an honor to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the Tobago Regional Health Authority's third edition of its internship program for 2025. To our interns, congratulations. Today you take the first step not only into the world of work, but also into your own leadership journey. This year's theme, Empowering Our Youth to be Future Leaders, speaks directly to your presence here. You are not just trainees. You are tomorrow's innovators, tomorrow's decision makers, and its change agents.
The theme of this year's internship, Empowering Our Youth to Become Future Leaders, is a true reflection of our commitment at the authority to provide avenues for our youth to be exposed to the dynamic field that is healthcare. We believe that it is our responsibility to broaden public understanding of what healthcare truly entails.
No one is here to hand you an opportunity. Whether you like it or not, life is a competition. You are competing amongst the best of the best to excel in this life. No one's here to feel sorry for you. I'm gonna be point blank with you. You need to excel and go above and beyond for what you want in this life.
Overall, the internship taught me way more than just how to do a job, because if I be honest with all, I was just studying in the morning. I had to be honest. It gave me real world experience because I was extremely naive as to how the real world was coming out of sixth form. I only did sixth form to honestly get away from the real world. I'll always be thankful for the people that I met in the internship, the lessons I learned, and the memories I made.
It's really good being here this morning as we welcome you to this TRHA internship program. Yes, it is something that started a couple years ago, and we did it because we are investing in something that is far bigger than just training. Yeah? We are doing something today that is way bigger than just an orientation. What we're doing right now is investing in the future of healthcare in Tobago. What the Tobago Regional Health Authority is doing right now is investing in every single one of you.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show. It is Tuesday the 15th of July. Yes, Tuesday the 15th. We are halfway through the month already, halfway through the first month in the second half of 2025. Where is the time going? Nobody knows. But I hope that you are up, you are ready to go, you're ready to tackle all the things that you have to do today. Yes. This is the day the Lord has made. We shall be glad and rejoice in it. Seize the day and achieve all that you can achieve today. And you know what, people? Today is Folk Fiesta. Yes, this afternoon, 3 p.m., Folk Fiesta, as the Tobago Heritage Festival continues. It is going to be an exciting day of traditional folk dance, song, and everything else in between, drumming and everything else in between. So if you have some free time this afternoon, 3 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex, make your way down there, yes, and see all the persons, all the performers keeping Tobago's culture alive. Like I said, I hope that you are ready and willing and raring to go. We have so much to talk about today, and we know that July is Tobago Heritage Month. Yes, Tobago Heritage Month, and we have a lot to look forward to. Like I said, this afternoon is Folk Fiesta, and we have Mariah Old Time Wedding coming up. We have Charlottesville Natural Treasures, as well as a number of other things. We have Pembroke, we have Lekoto coming back in. You know, Pembroke and Lekoto, they were out last year, and they've rejoined the festival this year, and we have a number of new additions. If I'm not mistaken, I think we have Boko inside, I think we have Women's side, I think Betel has come back into the fray, you know, so there are a lot of exciting things to look forward to in this coming week and in the rest of the month as it relates to the Tobago Heritage Festival. And as you can see, the calendar coming up there. So far, we've had the Junior Heritage, we've had the Heritage Food Fair, and I saw some images of the Heritage Food Fair, and it was a lot of delicious, delectable foods there. I wish I made my way there last week, Friday, so I could taste some of the amazing food. You know what they say about Tobago people, and the hand sweet. So I can imagine how amazing that event was. And then on the 10th, we had the opening gala. Yes, we had the opening gala, and that production was one to savor. It was amazing. The spectacle was out of this world. We had the Northside Passion on the 12th, and we also had the Tobago Writers Guild series, keeping literary traditions alive. So there's a number of things to really look forward to in the Tobago Heritage Festival. As you can see, today is Folk Fiesta, and also we have Keeping Literary Traditions Alive as well. On the 16th, we have the second year of We Tambourine Story. Yes, We Tambourine Story 2 from Mount St. George. Yes, and then we have a Youthquake coming into the calendar. They're having a Nancy Rides again. I'm guessing that would be a lot of cultural performances, song and dance, because we know Youthquake is a cultural group, long-standing cultural group in Tobago. Then we go up to Golden Lane, where we have Courtship Codes on the 18th. Then we go to Mariah, which is just like one village across. You go to St. Thomas, Mount Thomas, you go over to Mariah, and we have the Tobago Old Time Wedding. And then on Sunday the 20th, yes, Sunday the 20th, the very next day, we have games we used to play in Mason Hall. So you have that 18th, 19th, 20th. We have some pretty significant events going on. That entire weekend is booked. And as we continue on the 21st, so we're going right from the 18th to the 21st, around Monday morning. Tell the boss you're feeling sick. We're going up to Charlottesville, man, for the Natural Treasures Day. You know, Charlottesville Natural Treasures Day is always oversubscribed. And then we go down to Pembroke on the 23rd for the Salaka Feast Time Change Massa. Right? So we have a number of things. We go right down to the 1st of August, where we would have the Emancipation Day Parade and a reenactment. So we have a number of things to look forward to in this July month of activities. The Tobago Heritage Festival is back with a bang. Yes, so we have a number of things to discuss this morning, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into any of those conversations, we go to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Akinlabi, and here's your news in 90 seconds. In a brazen attack, 3 bandits attempted to break into the First Citizens Bank ATM located in Castara using a blowtorch in the early hours of yesterday morning. Tobago Updates was informed by Senior Superintendent Earl Eli that police received a report at around 3:55 a.m. and officers of the Divisional Task Force responded to the incident, where they met officers from Amalgamated Security Services on the scene. The security officers reported that around 3:20 a.m., they received a call regarding the attempted break-in. The officers said upon arrival, they observed that the ATM's back door ajar and a strong burning scent emanating from the structure. Further checks revealed that the locks were torched and removed from the 3 doors. Bandits also attempted to torch the vault. However, they were unsuccessful. Police believe that the men fled the scene before they could complete the job. Investigations into the incident are ongoing. Tobago swimmers are back home and riding high after a standout performance at the 2025 ASAT National Short Course Age Group Championships in Trinidad. The Tobago YMCA Aqua Warriors, led by the island's very own national record holder Ornella Walker, captured a total of 9 medals, 1 national record, and an overall trophy during the 5-day meet at the National Aquatic Center in Couva. Walker earned 4 golds and broke her own national record in the 50-meter backstroke, while also securing second place High Point trophy in the 18 and over category. Amaya Henry brought home silver and bronze in the breaststroke event, hitting national team qualifying times. Coach and swimmer Mosi Dinoon claimed 3 medals in breaststroke, while Antonio Jordan and Michaela Oliveri delivered solid top 10 finishes in their respective categories. The team will now engage in preparations for Tobago's YMCA's Invitational in August, where they'll compete on their home turf. And finally, 3 persons are now dead following a shooting incident in northern Trinidad. Official police report indicates that on Sunday evening at around 6 p.m., 3 men lying along Land Street in Gonzales were shot multiple times about their bodies when a Nissan Almira stopped at the 2 armed attackers, alighted and opened fire. The 2 men who were dressed in camouflage clothing escaped in the waiting vehicle. The victims, who were identified as 23-year-old Josiah Maloney, 24-year-old Michael Ross, and 32-year-old suspended police constable Davy Lamatai, I hope I pronounced that correctly, were all taken for medical treatment but subsequently succumbed to their injuries. Officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service are continuing investigations. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Well, Adana, on that last news story, it's unfortunate that the bloodshed in Trinidad and Tobago is continuing. I just don't have any much words again for this situation that Trinidad is finding itself in. We have so many administrations passed through over the years, and it seems as though nobody has any answers, nobody has any solutions to this problem.
And I really want to change the narrative. I know you said the bloodshed is continuing, but I want us to really take a minute and focus on what are we really doing as a people.
Yes.
Many a times you hear somebody might be upset with someone, so it might be, I don't know, some sort of altercation, or you pass back.
Yes.
To make sure that you finish the scene. But we have to take stock of who we are as a people, how far we've come from, and the things that we are trying to achieve. We cannot continue this type of life. And I know generally the general public, we are, law-abiding citizens as much as possible, and we don't engage in this type of behavior. But for those of you who are insistent on this type of behavior, you really need to check yourself, because at the end of the day, you're really eliminating yourself, because the more you participate in these types of actions, somebody's coming back for you, and it's a perpetual cycle. And before you know it.
Funny enough that you said that we have to look at how we're dealing with altercations, because I was telling somebody, I believe it was just yesterday morning, that a lot of our young men in Trinidad and Tobago are losing their lives foolishly. And they're either losing their lives by being murdered off of the simplest of arguments, or murdering somebody and going to jail off of the simplest of arguments. Simple things that you could just go your separate ways with, just end the argument and go your separate ways. They're taking it to the extreme levels and ending up taking somebody's lives, or their lives getting taken away simply because they can't close them out and just walk away.
But you see, the thing too, Akinlabi, we haven't been taught. Sometimes we look at the end results, but we have to look at what have we been doing for young people, or what have we been doing in our local spaces to teach people life skills, basic life skills. As you rightfully said, even from the home, let's look at siblings, let's look at cousins, let's look at relatives having an argument at home. How does the argument end? Does somebody intervene and say, no, this is not the way we speak to each other, this is not the way we treat each other, you all hug it out, you all are, you all are family, go outside and kick some football or something and make up? Or does the auntie jump in or the granny jump in and everybody just start fighting? We need to go back to the community, to the family, to the home, and we have to invest in teaching like basic life skills.
And as you say, basic life skills, I think one of those skills that we need to teach our boys in the family setting is emotional regulation. A lot of these, they have no emotional regulation. They become big men and they have no emotional regulation, and they get themselves into situations where emotions come into play and they don't know how to regulate themselves, and they act out violently a lot of the times.
And you see our exposure too. We are exposed a lot to, we have the internet now, and you can have cable, and you have access to so many different things that are staged.
Yes.
Music videos, movies, and all of these things that people, even the video games they play, they have direct access to these things, and of course it will influence the way they behave. And as you rightfully said, it's not regulated, and so it is left to get out of hand. So we really need to revisit some of the things that we are doing, how we are, kind of integrating what we have available to us, what we are exposed to how we respond and react to certain things in our local spaces. So here's to hoping that we can do that before it gets too late. I think we are already advanced, but it's not impossible.
You could always bring it back,
It will
take always come back from the ledge.
That's right, it will take some work, but it's possible to get done. Well, Akinlabi, let's hope for the best. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And of course, as you are aware, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we love a good birthday celebration.
That's right.
Yes, so we're going to start off the celebration this morning.
We're going to start off with Angela Campbell. Happy birthday to you, Miss Angela Campbell. Today is your special day. You know what you should do, Angela? Treat yourself. Come down to the folk fiesta this afternoon and take in some performances, some world-class performances. Come with your family, come with your friends, make it a date and enjoy yourself. God's richest blessings. Happy birthday to you, Miss Campbell.
All right, and next we have Miss Adika McFarlane, and might I say, I'm very proud to say happy birthday, cuz I do hope that you have a wonderful, amazing day as you are. You are fabulous and gorgeous, and I really, truly admire you. And so I say happy birthday to you. I pray God's blessings upon your life. I pray for all the riches of love, joy, peace, and happiness to find you wherever you go and whatever you do. And I say happy birthday to you. And of course, even if you do not have, we don't have your photographs and you're celebrating, guess what? We still join in the celebration with you. But we remind you to put God first, because He is the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. So who are we having conversations with this morning?
I am so happy you asked. And this morning, Adana, we're having conversations with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus of the TTPS. She's going to be talking to us about the TTPS updates, home invasions, and smoking of marijuana in the public. So you know that's going to be an extended interview with the inspector this morning. And then lastly, we're going to have the Chief Executive Officer of the Tobago Performing Arts Company, Mr. Jared Primer, and he's coming to speak to us about a script writing workshop.
All right, sounds very, very interesting. Of course, you know, we always like talking to our friends there at the TTPS, and we're going to get the information, guys. We do hope that you are a part of the conversation. Remember, you can leave your comments on our Facebook live stream and our YouTube channel at Tobago Updates. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you want to ask. Remember, you can ask your questions as well. So whether you're viewing right here in Tobago, in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, all of Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe, wherever you are, this is your opportunity to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Hello, New York! Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. Oh, hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Spring. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more.
Alice. OBO. Hey, I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump. 'Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 girls to a man, DJ start the thing, let me ramage. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, 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 take out your flag and fling it up, take out something and fling it up, fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, 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 start to jump up and fling it up, take out something and fling it up.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window from your house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but the cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them, go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and Edward people them, you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
My name is Tina Macmillan, your last year's third place winner and the Miss Photogenic for last year's Miss Heritage Personality Show. And this year, I want to carry you with me for my Tobago Heritage experience. I'll be hosting With Tobago Updates, bringing you live coverage behind the scenes and also their giveaways, tickets to the heritage events, and a 2-night stay to the Manzalina Grand. So you need to stay locked on to Tobago Updates on all their social media platforms, Keena Macmillan on Facebook and originalmedusa.tt on TikTok. My Tobago Heritage Experience with Tobago Updates. Stay tuned.
Do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back. Do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back. Do something and...
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversation this morning in studio by speaking with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus of the TTPS. Of course, when the TTPS is in the house, we must get our crime updates. But we're also going to be talking on another topic, which is home invasions, and of course, as you heard in our rundown this morning, smoking of marijuana in public spaces. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adana, and to your other host, and to Tobago as well. Good morning. I'm happy to be here this morning. The Tobago division has continued to do good work in our space. I'm happy to report last week we were able to destroy a very large marijuana field. It was all over the media. And, you know, people, even though the law has been created and something's been decriminalized, people still believe that they have the privilege to do these things, which are still against the law. So the officers, congratulations to them of the Divisional Task Force, carried out a very good exercise, which was done in the Castara area. and several trees were destroyed in that space. So I'm happy to report that this morning. We also continue to target the drug blocks that we have in our different spaces in Tobago, trying to deter persons from the use of marijuana in the excess that they're not supposed to have. Well, prior to that, we had a major drug bust as well, where a vehicle was intercepted with a quantity of marijuana coming off the vessel in Scarborough.
Right.
So, we continue to make inroads in those areas on the island. We also continue to detect a lot of offenses in terms of people who are breaking, and they are also charging a lot of people for the use of the dangerous drug cocaine as well. For the past week or so, we had at least over approximately 10 persons being charged for possession of cocaine, which indicates to us that we probably have a serious problem in our space here in Tobago that needs to be dealt with, right? One of the things I wanted to just highlight quickly in terms of scams are kind of on the rise, in Tobago. We are getting a lot of reports where people are paying monies for things that they haven't received, particularly vehicles. They are seeing advertisements on the Facebook space and different areas, and people are parting with their monies without doing their due checks and diligences to make sure that who they are sending it to is a legitimate person or company or such. So we're getting a lot of reports, monies as much as $50,000 and more, $4,000, people paying for phones. They haven't seen the phones, and the phones had to be delivered. It is becoming a lot, and we want people to become aware that you do your checks, right, on these persons who are doing these advertisements. Make sure that they are who they are, because you are going to lose your monies, right? Another thing where people are losing monies from receiving messages and pressing links, and when you look, your entire account is wiped out. Right now, the banks, you have to look at the authenticity and messages that the banks send to you. They seldom ever ask you for personal information in any email or such, right? Or even a phone call, they would not ask you for those things unless you actually go over the counter or into the bank. So people get carried away. Sometimes you're told that you win something, and they go ahead and they press a link. And these people are phishing. That is what they're doing, not the FISHING, but PH, phishing in terms of fraudulent offenses. That is what they are doing. So we want persons to be aware and to try to avoid parting with your money so easily.
One of our news stories this morning spoke about, as we continue with the TTPS updates, it spoke about a break-in at the ATM in Castara. Do you have any additional information where that is concerned?
Well, at this time, the matter is still under investigation. I personally went up into the area yesterday and assisted the officers into looking into it, because part of my portfolio is the Inspector Crime on the island of Tobago. And thus far, we have received useful information. And I want to say thank you to the members of the Castara district, right? It may not be their fault directly, but it could put the community at a disadvantage. Because at the end of the day, this is not the first time someone would have attempted to get into the ATM, and now it is in limbo in terms of whether the bank is going to have an ATM remain in that area. So we have to look at the consequences sometimes into what we do, some of the people who are perpetrating crimes, and how you can cause problems for other persons when you do this. Because if you check the area and the distance where that space is, the ATM was a very valuable asset to the persons in the community. And for them to, we are still working on whether it is somebody in the area or somebody came into the area assisted by persons from the area to carry out the act. And you have placed the entire community now in a position, that is not good for the area.
And Castara has, is so sad, because Castara is traditionally a kind of nice tourist spot. They have built up themselves in such a way that people they feel safe and stuff like that. So we're really hoping that Castara remains in that kind of tranquil, relaxing type of a space that it is, where that is concerned.
But I would praise the members of the community, because they are working with the police to ensure that this is dealt with, because of their consciousness of the tourism in the area and so on. They don't want something like that to bring a bad name to the space. It's relatively very safe.
Inspector, I just want to circle back to persons falling to these scams, because there's a conversation I was having recently. When you talk about with these victims, What exactly are they telling you concerning what is their motive for engaging in such risky transactions? You know, we have spoken time and time again about persons utilizing the Facebook to acquire vehicles and technology, phones, and all these kinds of things. But yet, time and time again, we see persons still taking those risks. What, in your conversations with them, or with the TTPS's conversations with these persons, what is their motive for participating in something that could seem so obviously as a scam?
Sometimes the price, and which is supposed to be an alert to you, right? That something so cheap and it can't be that easy. Why would I pay $4,000 for a vehicle, on a vehicle, and the person will be willing to come to Tobago with his vehicle to have it transferred to you and so on so easily? Most people want a certain amount, or all of the monies for the vehicle before it is handed over, right? And another thing with persons with US, right? Some people pay persons for US. You haven't seen the US, and you're not even supposed to be conducting those kind of transactions because you're not authorized to sell. That come like you're selling the US black market. Everybody, they take the chance.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, would you hand over $20,000 to somebody you don't even know? Right? Because you're communicating on the phone with another person saying, I have money to think, and I'm sending somebody to do the transaction with you. You hand over the money to that person, you don't know them, and expecting the US to come to you. They're not obligated to bring it back to you because remember it's a dishonest act. Right? So if you're trading something, it should be here and here. You get it one time. So some people, they get carried away, right? With the fact that is cheap, the item is cheap. And they look at how the person is, some of them are very smart. They will be very convincing. If they're in Trinidad, they'll be telling you about, okay, the phone will be delivered at a certain time. You pay half now. You know, all these kind of things. And you pay down the half. You're waiting 1 week. They're giving you a whole heap of excuses. And what we find too, by the time you're ready to make a report, the site is removed. Wherever they did the transaction, there's nothing on Facebook anymore. Somebody else may be answering the number that they call. They're sending other people's identification to you, claiming to be the person who owns the vehicle, people's driver's permit and their identification information, and is not the person.
We really have to do our due diligence because I find it difficult to lose the things that you work hard for. You work very hard to earn your money. So you know, the call really is on you, the public, to ensure that you do your due diligence. So you just want to release $4,000 for a vehicle. You haven't seen the vehicle yet, and you know, we really have to think much about what we're doing before we get, twisted in some of those things. I want to circle back before, smoking with marijuana in public is a very, very topic I really want to get into. But before we head over to that one, we want to talk about home invasions. And we've had that conversation on this set before in terms of ensuring that homeowners or proprietors, they kind of protect their property in terms of what they need to do to ensure that they are safe. So I want to know this morning, what is different that you're going to be talking about in terms of home invasions? Is it sensitization to the fact that it is increasing, and what we should do, how we can really rally together as an individual and as a community to ensure that our spaces remain safe?
So I just want to expound on the fact that you're saying that it's not the first time we are speaking about things like this, because nothing much has changed in terms of the persons out there who are willing to carry out it and do illegal things. They are there. The more we put them away, there are other persons coming up with new ways to do things, and they continue to do it, right? So the term home invasion is more like what the public has come up with. When people invade your home, confronts the persons in the home, sometimes they are violent, and they carry out acts that are arrestable offenses, whether they're stealing your stuff or they're harming you, that kind of thing, right? But actually, when you look at the law, what they will be charged for are things like robbery with violence, or if within the burglar's hours, it's a burglary, robbery with aggravation if they use a weapon and that kind of thing. So we have seen it, especially in Trinidad, where the group of persons move about and they're going to people's homes, or even sometimes a business attached to a home to try to steal money or to take their personal items and that kind of thing. So what we're asking people is to develop what we call situational awareness, right? Really looking around you, seeing what is different taking place. Sometimes a vehicle might be surveilling your home for an entire day, and some people would not recognize that this strange vehicle is passing up and down, right? Some of the things we need to do is take note of things that are suspicious to us. So that same vehicle number, even if you have to take a little notepad and just jot down the vehicle number, and if you feel that much uncomfortable, you could call the police. Call the police and let them know, I'm seeing a green B15 for the longest while I'm at home, and it continues to come and stop to the front of my house. I'm not seeing the inside. Maybe the glass might be dark. It has done it like 3 times for the morning. This is the number that I'm seeing on the vehicle, right? And you pass it on to the police and they would respond. They would respond. Normally, a vehicle like that will send out like a broadcast if we are suspicious about it, because there are suspicious men on board, and the officers who are out on patrol will look for this vehicle and intercept. Right? You never know if we might find someone with a weapon on board who had an intention but were unable to commit this act. Right? So we're asking persons to be aware. Now, so many times I've spoken on this program about, CCTV cameras. You don't have to be in front of your house to look outside. If you have the cameras, you can look on your outside from inside and to see what is happening. And we always say you have to make it difficult for people to penetrate your home. So because your home is your castle, and it's also supposed to be your fortress, right? So what I'm saying is that we're not in jail, but at the end of the day, you have to protect yourself, because we have to be real. We don't know who are the people out there who may have intentions that would want to harm us. So we're saying invest in your CCTV cameras and good systems. One of the things I speak to people about is sharing your camera, one of your cameras, with law enforcement. People have 30 cameras in their house. And when something happens and the police has to look at the footage or whatever, all facing down the ground or somewhere that might not be useful to you to help to solve your crime. So sometimes you face one towards the roadway, the entrance coming into the house, or that same car, we might be able to see it passing 3-4 times, and then the person carried out the act and might be able to help us to use that information to solve the matter. So we have to be strategic as to where we place the cameras, invest in good locks. In the holiday season, people are traveling, and everybody wants to put up those photos whilst they're outside. We try to discourage people from doing that. Put them up on your comeback. Because you don't know who is seeing your profiles, whether Facebook or Instagram, and they're seeing you in Rome. You ain't coming back now. Right? So whilst having a good time in your house, you're far, far away, and your house may be located in an area where nobody else is close by.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have to be smart about what you do, and you have to have good neighbors. Right? I'm traveling through an iron space for me. We have to look out for one another. These basic things have left us as an island sometime, that nobody looks out for their neighbors, right? So something as simple as that, we look out for each other.
And I like the fact that you said we have to look out for each other. We have to come back to the community. I remember as a little girl, the area that I grew up in, or that I'm familiar with, you knew everybody on the streets. You knew everybody. Now when you go back there, you don't see any familiar face. The familiar faces have migrated, and you see new people migrating into this place, and they start to feel uncomfortable because you don't know these people and they're hanging around. There might be a recreational ground and you see a whole set of new people there, and you just kind of start to get really uncomfortable. So is it wise to start let's say befriending new people in the community, whether they look suspicious or not? Try to find out who these people are, where they came from, perhaps where they work, so that you kind of could feel a little bit more comfortable in your space?
Of course, and I think that is part of the problem, where we still have so many really accommodating Tobagonians that we don't pay much attention to the people who even come to rent our apartment and what they are doing there. Sometimes we don't even ask for enough information pertaining to the person who comes to your space, right? And as you said, it's all about community. Sometimes we have to parent properly, because a child may be an adult and still living in your home, but they're bringing persons who are doing wrong things into your space. So when the police comes A lot of them believe that we are unjust or unfair. We all are coming here, but there it is. You're harboring a criminal and you are not aware. Right? So we have to talk. We have to be able to look at, as I said, situational awareness. What is going on around you? Who is really around you? So as a community, we have to be concerned. There are people that come into our spaces. Some of them just don't look right. If I may put it like that, I'm not being profiling or just being judgmental, but some people just don't look right a lot of times, and many times our instincts aren't wrong about some of these persons, and we have to become concerned as a community, right? And be suspicious, right? Be suspicious enough to tell the police, well, there's this man, he doesn't come out at all one in the night. Right? And when he comes out, there's this bulge on his side, or he goes with this, you know what I mean? Let us know, so that this could be a person that could cause harm to you as well,
Inspector, as you spoke about persons not looking right, I know a couple communities in Tobago, they have signs up saying there's a neighborhood watch. In the TTPS's experience and the expert advice, would you advise that communities start developing neighborhood watches across Tobago?
Of course, I would advise, and it would be something that we would love. It has been tried already in several areas. Some have become dormant and so on, but it has been done already. And if we do things like this, we bring networking, and then again we bring the police into actually working with the community, which is part of our strategic goal in terms of community partnerships. Neighborhood watch groups are very important. If you have 5 streets in an area, and you have 5 persons in every street that is connected, whether it be by a WhatsApp group or some form of communication to let you know, like in the night, there's a strange vehicle moving about. It's down on my street now. I just see it pass. It across on the street. You understand? So you'll be able to tell if the police is on board with you on that neighborhood watch. By the time you make a call to the police, we will know which street the vehicle is on, because we on that chat with you, right? So we have to look out for each other, as I said, and that's some of the things that we are missing. But we still have our station councils, in which every station district is mandated to have every month, and the station councils should be made up of all groups, persons in the community, and these are great opportunities that when you go to your station council, you can speak to the SDIC in that area, the officer in charge who keeps the council, to look at developing one of these watch groups in your space.
Very, very interesting and engaging conversation this morning as we speak with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus. We have to go for a short break, but when we come back, we continue conversations and we switch gears a little bit to head on speaking about smoking marijuana in public spaces. In the meantime, can you help us? Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we continue the conversations with Inspector Mahalia Bacchus. And now we're going to switch gears and have a conversation about smoking marijuana in the public space. We know that it has been a long-standing issue in the Tobago space. So, Inspector, like I said, it's been a long-standing issue in Tobago, smoking in the public space, and it seemed to have gotten worse with the decriminalization of marijuana. That was done a few years ago. So just tell us, when and where are you allowed to smoke marijuana?
All right, so you use the term decriminalization, which a lot of people do not understand doesn't mean that it is legal. It is not legalization of marijuana. And under decriminalization, they speak about a certain amount that a person is allowed to have. So it's in terms of relaxation a bit of the laws that we had previously. So therefore a person is allowed to smoke less than, to have 30 and smoke less than 30 grams, right? Some people become carried away because the law also speaks about smoking in public spaces. And that is what we see people doing. However, the people might wonder, well, these people are smoking all over and the police is not arresting them. Most times we may seize the marijuana if we find a person doing smoking certain places, but in reality the laws requires it to be a fixed penalty notice issued to that person if they are found smoking in a public space. And as it is presently, we do not have the fixed penalty to issue to persons on the outside. Right, this is a matter that is beyond our control as law enforcement, and the most we could do is await the arrival of these fixed penalties so that we are able to enforce this part of the law. Right?
Enforcement, you know, for me, if you know me at all, talking to the TTPS or anything regarding laws and policies, enforcement is always an issue for me. And I feel as if we come up with a lot of things and we need to strengthen it with the enforcement aspects. I understand the challenge there, and I'm hoping that that can be sorted out in the soonest possible time. But I want to define what is a public space, because in as much as the marijuana itself, smoking of marijuana has been decriminalized and you're allowed to smoke it, so, you know, what do you consider a public space? Because people might be wondering, well, is it that I can't go in my yard, or can I go to the basketball court? Like, what is a public space defined as?
So a public space is like any space where the public is granted access, whether conditionally or otherwise. And when you talk about conditionally, it means that sometimes you have to pay. You might have to pay under the condition might be that you pay to enter, and some areas where you might be conducting a business, right? So the garage, you'd have to pay to go to the garage, but the public is granted access there because you are operating that business. So that is also considered a public space, right? So in front of the shop. These are public spaces. We don't have to pay to go by the shop. But you're not supposed, that is a public space where the public is granted that form of access, right? So, you know, what we wish is that people become more responsible, right? Be more responsible for the actions and the things that they do. And it shouldn't always be that law enforcement is on your back to crack a whip to ensure that you do the correct thing. Because one of the harms is secondhand smoke, right? And you, if I'm passing my merry way next to the sidewalk, next to the shop, where you decide to smoke, and you are puffing smoke at me, you are putting my life in danger. There are school children, as a matter of fact, that are passing up and down in some of these spaces, and people want to smoke in some of these areas, you know, and it is not right. You have to think about others and what you can, the harm that you could cause to another person by doing what you are doing.
You spoke about second-hand smoke being a harm, and we also spoke about smoking in your private spaces as opposed to smoking in the public. But how does the TTPS now address issues of children being put in harm's way when the adults are smoking within the household?
Right, so there are offenses of endangering the life of the child, right? When you smoke around them or even having the drug around the child. So people should be mindful of that as well. Some people take it for granted that at home, this is my child and so on. But as long, if we come, or there's for whatever reason we have that information that this is happening, and we could prove it, then you can find yourself in problems.
You know, I want to go back to smoking, let's say at the garage or on the block. There are some guys who would hang out on the block because, you know, that's where the problem is, really in the root of our problem here in our society. So they're hanging out on the block and they smoking and they whatever. We're talking now about, and the reason I'm asking this question is because I know that the general public, they will always find a but. But. So in the instance where I'm hanging out on the block, not me, but a group of persons are hanging out on the block and they're smoking and they are passers-by and they inhale the smoke, they would say, yeah, but it's only once you inhale it. It's not like if you just pass here all the time or you're not standing up here with us hanging out. So the second-hand smoke that you're inhaling is not for an extended period.
It's not really a harm.
Right, it's just a whiff. You just walk past. Could that be a justifiable thing for this person to say, well, yeah, I'm not really causing any harm, whether or not they should be smoking in public?
I don't think that's fair for them to just justify it that way, because at the end of the day, what happens to your body is different from what could happen to my body. And it's a conversation I was having with a gentleman recently that we need to have, right? Because we know there are some people who are hell-bent on still smoking marijuana no matter what, because they are allowed to have the legal limit and so on. But there are other conversations that we need to have pertaining to the drug, right? Because it has not been struck off as a drug. It is still labeled as a drug. That's why you get charged for it if you don't have the prescribed amount, right? So it's a conversation we need to also have for people to understand the drug and what it can do, right? It has benefits. And we would have heard about it worldwide, about some of the benefits. But what I would have learned is that a lot of it is need to be extracted. There are certain things that needs to be done in order to really benefit from the benefits of the drug, right? And there are also potent qualities of it. And when we use it in particular ways, we are taking all the good and all the bad at the same time that could harm people. So something might not cause you to become high, but he may become high off of that, right? And the effects, where it would take you, it may not take him, right? Some people have underlying issues. For example, we come from families that may have mental situations, and these things could act as triggers, right? Triggers that could cause us to go into certain states. I've seen it where we have the situation with the edibles. Right, there's not much that we could do about it in law anymore because they infuse it into food, and it is not illegal when they do that. We are unable to measure the amount when it is in the food. You understand?
Yes.
And young people end up in the hospital from having these brownies and some of these things that they are making. Right? Some people use it and they're good, and some people use it and they are not good. So we have to think about each other, and you have to know yourself. So that's what I'm saying. There are conversations that we need to have pertaining to this, the drug, and what is good and what is bad about it.
Do you think that the TTPS, or has the TTPS done any type of public education drive or awareness in terms of the harms of this particular, because as you said, it's still a drug. Has there been any public education drive, or is there anything being discussed right now to ensure that we understand the potency of the drug and the effects that can impact our lives?
Yes, we do, because we have this special investigations unit who do demand reduction programs, and we have the community policing section who also, they go into schools and any requests like into communities and so on, and speak about the effects of the marijuana. We also have this this other synthetic drug, ecstasy, and these things that are on the rise in our communities.
Yes.
So people have to be aware, especially within the party settings, who you're taking a drink from. Is a lot. And I'm saying, that's why I'm saying there needs to be conversations, and we continue to target the schools in particular, where we have the impressionable young minds, and try to bring them and make them aware. I'm presently a part of a drug steering committee in Tobago as well, where they're doing a lot of work trying to get policies and so on in place to even heighten this awareness when it comes to drugs in our society.
All right. Well, Inspector Mahalia Bacchus, we want to thank you very much for being on set with us. We wish we could have this conversation forever with you. There's so much to discuss. Hopefully you could come back at another time to have that conversation, but we really hope that you'll be able to bring this situation under control.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break, but we'll be right back after the break. But in the meantime, we invite you to help us. Share the live,
share the live, share the live.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. Oh, hey, I forget to tell all you, it's the 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
My name is Tina Macmillan, your last year's third place winner and the Miss Photogenic for last year's Miss Heritage Personality Show. And this year, I want to carry you with me for my Tobago Heritage experience. I'll be hosting With Tobago Updates, bringing you live coverage behind the scenes and also their giveaways, tickets to the heritage events, and a 2-night stay to the Manzolina Grand. So you need to stay locked on to Tobago Updates on all their social media platforms, Kina Macmillan on Facebook and originalmedusa.tt on TikTok. My Tobago Heritage Experience with Tobago Updates. Stay tuned.
Do something and roll back, come let me feel.
I make a brush back, do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back, do something and do something.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrell Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrell Springs. Contact 49 Swift 4979 438.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and we got you. Guess who's still in studio with us this morning? Inspector Mahalia Bacchus is still here, and we want to talk a little bit about activities happening on the island of Tobago. I know we are currently in the season of Tobago Heritage Festival. I know we have Capture the Flag happening on the weekend, and we have Carnival coming up. And the TTPS plays a very, very important part, a very, very important role in ensuring events on the island are successful. People only see the promoters and they only see the agencies who are hosting the events. But we want to know where TTPS is in terms of ensuring that there is a measure of safety, confidence, security in hosting of these events and having a successful execution.
All right, so the TTPS is mindful of all these activities. We are aware. Most of them we would receive correspondence indicating that these things are going to happen, the date that they are going to happen, and we have what we call extra duty activities where police officers are sent to manage these events, right? So especially where we have monies being picked up in these areas, we ensure that officers are there to ensure the safety of the patrons and the persons who are carrying out the activity, right? So, you know, in the past we have had issues with people looking at the cost that they have to pay. But is there a price? Would you really argue the price for safety? You understand what I mean?
Yes.
And it's not like we just go about willy-nilly coming up with figures. You have to look at the areas that we have to manage in your space. You're looking at your entrance. As I mentioned, there are spaces where you have monies being picked up. They have bars. You have ticket booths as well. You have your exits. You have parking that has to be dealt with because there's a sore point a lot of times, unless the police is there to tell people park in this manner and so on, and it is a lot of hard work. So the officers have to be compensated by the means of the extra duty for doing that hard work because they are on their feet for sometimes 8 hours, right? And right through the event, trying to make sure that everything is safe. We also look at the persons entering your space as well to ensure that nobody comes in, because they also have private securities in some of these areas to make sure that nobody's there with a weapon, that we would treat with it immediately, and to ensure that people behave themselves in general. Because after consuming alcohol, a lot of people are very lawless, and you end up with brawls and these kind of things. So the presence of the police a lot of times allows people to behave themselves.
You traditionally, has the TTPS found it difficult to have that sort of crowd control when it comes to the Tobago Heritage Festival and dealing with the public when they attend these events?
Not necessarily, because a lot of them are indoors most of the time. You have outdoor ones like the Mariah Heritage Festival Charlottesville as well too, but because we get familiar with the routes that they use and the spaces where they'll be doing things, we ensure that persons are posted in certain spaces. You will see us putting down no parking signs because we don't want congestions, we don't want problems on the roadway. Because no matter when an event is happening, whether it be carnival or otherwise, life goes on. If a person has to be taken to the hospital, there must be that emergency route that is available that you can get in and out of there. People still have to go to work, right? So these are things we have to take into consideration with the promoters. So sometimes people apply for road use, and when you tell them, well, maybe no, not this space or so on, people are upset. But the things I'm speaking about is what we have to take into consideration. Life goes on. The T&Tech worker has to move about. The ambulance still has to move. The person who has to get to the airport to see about the flight. The person who has to get to the port. All these things have to still go on whilst your event is happening, right? So people have to be mindful that we take these things into consideration.
You know, thank you so much, Inspector Mahalia, for being with us this morning and going through the conversations. And I really hope that our viewers are, paying attention to what is happening in our spaces. And, I'm looking forward to continue talks, especially about the marijuana smoking in public spaces and people taking the precautions to ensure that their properties are safe, and the community effort with the TTPS to ensure that Tobago is once more a safe space where we can all enjoy together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we have to end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, which is Good Morning Tobago. And as we go, we invite you to help us.
Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Hi, I am Dr. Faith Brubner, Deputy Chief Secretary and Secretary for Health, Wellness and Social Protection. So we are here at the orientation for the TRHA internship. This is the third year we're having this internship, and it really is an opportunity for young people to see the inner workings of the healthcare sector. And the inner workings of the healthcare sector would allow them to determine their career paths, and it's really just an opportunity for them to understand how healthcare really works and to see how they can be a part of that future.
Hi, I'm Jaylene Jennings Henry, former TRHA intern 2024. My experience with the TRHA internship program has been wonderful. I have gained a lot of experience, met new people. I did not go into the position that I wanted to go into, but the position that they placed me gave me an immense amount of opportunities. I met new people. I worked really hard. I was outstanding, and I was given more opportunities to the future and gained some new contacts. Absolutely. I would recommend this program because you will, as I said, you would gain more opportunities. You would meet new people. It has certain parts in life that may be dull to you, things that have not been brought to your attention as a young adult, that they would enlighten you on, not just in the workspace, but in life itself, in finance, in house building, in getting a car. All of these things, business, would help you as a young person going into the work world and as an adult.
My name is Jabari Darlington, and I am a past TRHA 2024 intern. No, I would not recommend it for the hospital alone because I am someone who does not plan to get into the medical field after I finish my studies. And seeing as the internship was all inclusive, I don't think it should just be limited to the hospital alone, but the office area is important as well in day-to-day activities, even within the hospital.
Hi, my name is Janae Nicholas, and I'm a part of the 2025 TRHA Summer Internship Program. For this program, I came into it anticipating to have a good hands-on experience in the healthcare sector. Specifically, I would love to learn more about the back-end things that helps the entire healthcare system to work, namely in biomedical engineering, how the equipment is maintained and repaired, and all the other paperwork and everything else that goes into it.
My name is Ellis Joel. I am a first-time participant in the TRHA Summer Intern Programship. My expectations from this program is to, 1, develop my leadership skills and proceed forward in becoming a better leader, exploring and getting hands-on development in the area of engineering, as well as expanding my knowledge to see where in the healthcare industry can I continue and improve and bring my knowledge as an electrical engineer in the biomedical area to develop healthcare and even other parts of society around the world.
My name is Dela Baker and I'm a first-time participant of the TRHA Summer Internship Program. Well, what I expect from this program is to gain a better understanding on the work world and to understand how the health system works. I am an aspiring psychologist and I believe that this program can be very beneficial to me so that I can gain more knowledge. For future participants, I hope that they are able to as well gain this knowledge, and I hope that this program can continue so that it can better our community and better the lives of all the youth.
My name is Giselle Gittins-Peters. I am the Vice Chairperson for the Tobago Regional Health Authority's Internship Committee. So the truth is the TRHA would have started this internship program years ago, but then COVID came and voila, here we are. So the 2023 installment of the internship would have seen the reintroduction of the internship here at the Tobago Regional Health Authority. And the idea is to expose as many young Tobagonian students to what the healthcare industry has to offer. It is a dynamic ecosystem, and well, COVID would have taught us, listen, we need to do things better. So the internship is really like a gauge into preparing our young people into the world of work, into the entry into healthcare. And even if it is they don't come back to the healthcare industry itself, the skills that they would have been taught, the experiences, the networking, it would set them apart as part of the wider world of work. Oh, and that's one of the beautiful things with our program. This is not just for persons who probably have an interest in pharmacy, nursing, medicine. We have students from across the board. We have biomedical engineers, we have teachers, we have psychologists, we have persons who are actually doing what we call the traditional trades. So yes, we are allowing persons from a various cross-section of education to participate in the program. And like you said, it is not just doctors and nurses that make up this ecosystem. We have all these other allied health, and this is one of the ways that we get these persons to come on board to appreciate what it is we are trying to do here in Tobago.
I am Assemblyman Megan Morrison, area representative for the electoral district of Mount St. George Goodwood, and the Assistant Secretary of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. This summer internship is a way to bring much needed resources to the health institution. Initially, this program started, I think, with 50 participants. I think that number has increased. So already we have expanded the program. Need arises, I see the program going from strength to strength as the need becomes necessary.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host Chanel Felix, and whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. In a brazen attack, 3 bandits attempted to break into the First Citizens Bank ATM located in Castara. Using a blowtorch in the early hours of yesterday morning, Tobago Updates was informed by Senior Superintendent Earl Eli that police received a report at around 3:55 a.m. and officers of the Divisional Task Force responded to the incident, where they met officers from Amalgamated Security Services on the scene. The security officers reported that at around 3:20 a.m. they received a call regarding the attempted break-in. The officers said upon arrival they observed the ATM's back door ajar and a strong burning scent emanating from the structure. Further checks revealed that the locks were torched and removed from 3 doors. The bandits also attempted to torch the vault. However, they were unsuccessful. Police believe the men fled the scene before they could complete the job. Investigations into the incident are ongoing. Additionally, Tobago's swimmers are back home and riding high after a standout performance at the 2025 ASATT National Short Course Age Group Champions in Trinidad. The young Tobago YMCA Aqua Warriors, led by the island's very own national record holder, Manella Walker, captured a total of 9 medals, 1 national record and an overall trophy during the 5-day meet at the National Aquatic Center in Couva. Walker earned 4 goals and broke her own national record in the 50-meter backstroke, while also securing second place high point trophy in the 18 and over category. Amaya Henry brought home silver and bronze in the breaststroke events, hitting national team qualifying times. Coach and swimmer Mosey Denoon claimed 3 medals in the breaststroke, while Antonio Jordan and Michaela Oliveira delivered solid top 10 finishes in their respective categories. The team will now engage in preparations for the Tobago YMCA Invitational in August, where they will compete on their own home turf. And finally, 3 persons are now dead following a shooting incident in northern Trinidad. Official police report indicates that on Sunday evening at around 6 p.m., 3 men liming along Lange Street in Gonzales were shot multiple times about the body when a Nissan Almera stopped and 2 armed attackers alighted and opened fire. The 2 men were dressed in camouflage clothing and escaped in a waiting vehicle. The victims, who were identified as 23-year-old Joshua Maloney and 24-year-old Michael Ross and 32-year-old suspended police constable Davi Lamare, were all taken to the medical treatment but subsequently succumbed to their injury. Officers of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service are continuing their investigations. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Now this morning we continue our discussions and we are talking all about what's happening here on the island of Tobago during this year's Tobago Heritage Festival. And this morning I have the privilege of chatting online with Mrs. Marsha Gonzalez Mackey. Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Hi, good
This
morning.
morning we are talking about, one of those exciting events that are taking place as it pertains to the keeping literary traditions alive. There are workshops that would be taking place related to the industry, there have been a number of these workshops that has already happened as it pertains to script writing and you name it. And this morning we are chatting about what you would be doing as a part of those workshops this morning. Now, for the persons who are not too familiar with the work that you have been doing, you are a publisher, illustrator, author, and a regional advisor. Tell us this morning about what we can expect coming out of some of your exciting workshops that are happening as a part of the celebration of the 2025 Tobago Heritage Festival.
Okay, so well, last weekend I started what I partnered with the Trinidad and Tobago Writers Guild, and we had a workshop on folklore, which is one of the things that I really love. So folklore is my passion. If you could see behind me, I have like the Papa Boa. So
Yes.
definitely the workshop focus on heritage and folklore is one of those things. We launched on the 12th of July, which was actually Caribbean Literature Day. It was started in 2020. Nessie Publishers. So we decided to have the event on that day, the 12th, which so that we could commemorate Caribbean Literature Day. It's celebrated the 12th annually. And Caribbean, being the founder of Caribbean Books Foundation, it's something that I like to support, to support the other literature incentives in the region because they support us when we do Caribbean Folklore Month. So definitely, it's something that we want to continue doing.
Tell us a bit about what happened during your session and, what persons were exposed to.
Okay, so during our session, we talked about folklore for the modern age, not just folklore. We have the oral tradition coming out, but I try to emphasize that folklore is owned by everyone in the Caribbean. Folklore cannot be copyrighted. All of the characters are ours, and we should feel comfortable developing them for the modern age. A lot of times people tell me, those are characters and the youths aren't going to, they aren't going to be interested in those type of characters. And it's because the writers of today is not writing folklore for the youth. The writers of yesterday, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, they wrote for their audience. They wrote for the slaves. They wrote for making most of these stories. So you wouldn't go out in the night. Yeah. So it has that theme to it. But the writers of today, we can't just take these stories of old. We have to take our stories and believe in ourselves as scribes and make these stories relevant to today. So I admonish them to put some technology in the folklore. Papa Boy is in the forest, but I envision Papa Boy with a room with a nice GPS and he's thinking of the modern times. Something that the children could relate to, something that when you read it, you would say, okay, this is really bringing it forward. And all mythology, Caribbean is mythology. All mythology went through that. That didn't just stay in the past. They actually evolved because look at Marvel, you see everything evolving. Look at Greek mythology. If you read Greek mythology 100 years ago and you read Greek mythology today, it's not so much a completely different story, but they brought it into today's setting, which is the important thing. So the writers of today is responsible for putting folklore into this setting. And that is very important. And then it will be relevant to everybody.
Right, I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I'm glad that you mentioned a bit about, Greek mythology, and we look at shows like Thor and, all these other films that are based on, ancient characters, but set in a modern setting, or at least, in a setting that is more palatable, to today's audiences, even when it comes to, being on the big screen. So do you theorize or do you have a vision of you having those big movies where some of the characters in those movies are some of our traditional folklore characters?
Oh yes, I think the market is open, and Trinidad, not just Trinidad, but the Caribbean, we have a group of characters that are really unknown, and it's really up to us to take this group of characters and make a I call it a folklore verse, and take these characters and make them marketable enough that they will be added, because people are always looking for characters, right? But you as the writer, you have to promote it, and you have to market it in such a way that somebody will say, okay, we could use this in a film. This could be one of our villains. This could be one of our heroes. So we really have to go through the process of going through our character list and making it more marketable for this century. And I don't think it's something that we cannot do. I think it's something that we are up to the challenge. And as we start to write more about our characters, and our characters appear in film, because there's the Trinidad and Tobago Folklore Festival, and it appears more in film, and we're pushing it, and it's more out there, then those characters will be picked up globally. And I think it's really for us now to make a plan and strategize to get these characters out and show what these characters can do. Because our characters are wonderful. They're radiant and vibrant, and they are absolutely wonderful.
Right, and even tell us about some of your international connections and why it's important for, young persons within the industry locally to get their work done and increase the quality of the type of writing and the type of work that they are doing to get internationally recognized and possibly get greenlit for one of those big movies.
Definitely. Well, I am the regional advisor for the Society of Children Book Writers and Illustrators. So I work in Caribbean South, and there's so much information out there. When I look at that organization, they have like for children's book writers, they have like 2 big events per year, and it really is where all the editors and the agents and the illustrators is where they are. So sometimes you have to reach out and network on a different level internationally and see where, for example, I know we have an animation event, an anime event coming up. So you follow the international anime events as well. And because those are the places where the agents for fantasy and paranormal are going to be, and you're going to get your foot in there. So it's good doing social media and digital marketing, but it's also good being strategic. So I tell people, if they want to do a children's book, even a book that's written about Papa Bo or Mama Delo, you get into the Society of Children Book Writers. You go to an event where there's an agent that promises to read your work, and they will read your work. You have a month to send in your work, and that is how you're getting. So you might see a lot of times that people, they aren't taking submissions, they aren't reading. But if you follow them and they are teaching at an event, they will read if you attend that event. So it really is working strategically and seeing where the opportunities are and making sure that you get in.
Right. And even as it
that's
pertains to these workshops, it's so important and critical for young persons, early writers to get the type of exposure specifically from persons like yourself with the experience and the passion for the industry. How important is it for, organizations like the Tobago Writers Guild and the Tobago House of Assembly and even, NALIS to support these type of initiatives moving forward and partner with you and other creatives to help drive the industry by providing these type of capacity building seminars and workshops?
It is very important. Right now I'm doing analysis, co-hosting a workshop with me. They're providing the venue, so they're sponsoring it. And we're doing a writer series, and we're focusing on marketing. And Alice does that with me every year. And supporting writers. And writers come out with so many questions, because sometimes when you're self-publishing, you feel alone and you're not too sure what works and what doesn't work. And when you have a group, and it's a free session, it's not a paid session. And when you have a session where you could come and you could just ask questions that has been you're not sure what you're doing, but you have a group of people there that will help you, that makes a world of difference. And since I've been doing that writer series every year between July and August and August, I've seen so many of the writers during the year publish, and they send me a note and say, look, I've published my book, or they invite me to a book launch. And it really was because they came and they asked the questions, and somebody else in the room may have been able to help. And it really is important for NALIS and for like Tobago as House of Assembly, and for the different groups to just provide those spaces where writers are comfortable and writers could come and ask questions and could say, well, okay, I've nearly finished my book. What do I do now? Or I'm not sure how to finish this book. Anybody had that problem? What did you do? How can I, which bookstores are you going in? Who is the contact? And I see people giving each other so many contacts. So if they have an illustrator, they give the illustrator information. So just having that setting where you can ask questions whenever you're stumped, I think it's really great. And for it to be facilitated by NALIS or Tobago Library, it's really, it gives the writers more confidence to go forward and produce books. And I think over the past years, I've seen so many more books come on the market.
Excellent. And even to our viewers now that are watching who have that idea to write a book, but they don't feel like, anybody would be interested, or what they have to write is interesting enough. What do you have to tell them to encourage them? And how can they reach out to you to access your services to complete the process, or, just add a little flavor to what is already there?
I would say to them that they are worthy. Your story is, you alone can write your story and write it well. Be confident in your story. With writers, I always tell them to write the first draft out fully. Don't edit yourself, silence that inner critic. Don't think too much about description or anything like that. Just write. Write until you finish your story, because you have to have a product. And once you have that product, that manuscript in your hand, then you can go through the second draft and edit it and ask questions. But try and write first without thinking too much about it, because then it will take years to write your story. So give yourself about 3 months and just write your story from the beginning to end, and push. And if you're stumped, just leave that and keep going. So I will tell writers, you are worthy, your story is worthy, and we want to hear your story. Your story might be the next big hit. So definitely keep writing and push yourself to finish your story, because it's only you can finish that story.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning, and we want to thank you for the work that you have been doing both in Trinidad and Tobago and throughout the region to help drive the industry and trying to keep folk alive by adding that modern twist to, today's writing. Again, we want to say thank you to you. We hope that the persons who would have attended your sessions would have, learned a lot and enjoyed that as well. And we hope to see you again soon in Tobago doing much more of the work. And again, thank you to the Tobago Writers Guild for these sessions. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back right after this as we continue more conversation on all that's happening here on the island of Tobago, specifically during this Tobago Heritage Festival time, and much more. See you soon.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Are
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
So guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago. So it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix, and if you're just joining us, guys, this morning we continue our conversations, and we're chatting all about what's happening for the Tobago Heritage Festival. And one of those things that's happening is that Tobago partnership between the Tobago Heritage Festival, the Tobago Writers Guild, and the library, and they're having a number of workshops, and they're talking about keeping literary traditions alive. This morning, I have the privilege of chatting with the CEO of TPAC, Mr. Gerard Primer, who is also a movie producer and a scriptwriter. Good morning and welcome.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning. Now, you are no newcomer to the industry. You have been doing this, we might say, almost all your life. And now you are at that stage where you are giving back, you're sharing the knowledge. I mean, which is nothing new to you. You have been a teacher in the industry for a while as well. But now you're opening up and, allowing that partnership where you're sharing that knowledge with persons, across age groups, across sectors, and allowing persons to kind of get into your brain a bit. You are hosting that workshop and you're doing script writing. Tell us about exactly what areas of script writing you would be focusing on, because we know that it's impossible to truly get deep in it within one or two sessions. So, tell us what areas you'd be focusing on in this workshop today.
Right. So I'm happy you said that, because I don't want anyone to come that in 3 hours you're going to figure out how to write a screenplay perfectly. Because at the end of the day, you still have to do practice, which is reading, which is getting yourself aware. This is a very lovely introduction. This is a step into what the process is like, what my process is like, and maybe you could pick up a few bits from. And then we have some people who are not familiar with this format. But this workshop is supposed to cover both screen and theater play, stage plays. So I will show what the differences between the two, because they're very clear. And the difference is, of course, based on its functionality. So
Right.
we're going to be covering as well.
Right, these sessions have a small fee attached. Tell us about that and why, this small investment is so important, specifically for young persons and persons who may have recently graduated from university with a degree in, film or the arts. Tell us why this type of investment is so crucial.
So this investment, and you say investment, I'm not sure if you're referring to the cost for the workshop. I think it's free. But I do think that there's time that is required, an investment of study that is required, and of course an investment in making it and being okay. That's what writing is really about. Practice, write. It's bad. Write again. You fix, and you invest your time, and that's how you hone your craft. So if that's not what you're asking, I still think this is an interesting thing for us to talk about.
Well, I think that this particular workshop actually has a small fee of, I think it was $100 for this particular one, unless that has been changed. But I know that there's a small fee attached.
I think it's been changed. I think it's free. The last ad I saw free, so don't miss.
All right. Well, don't let finances be a barrier to you being exposed to this, this wealth of knowledge and information, because we have, a world-class writer here among us, right, in Tobago, someone who you can really use this opportunity to pick his brain. I spoke a little bit about persons who have studied, theater, performing arts at the university level, or who are embarking on degrees in this area. Why is it specifically important for that group to come and be a part of this? Oftentimes you hear persons saying, doing a degree in this field could be a waste of time. What are you going to do with it right here in Trinidad and Tobago? How can you truly benefit or maximize the investment of this type of degree? Tell us why this particular group is important to come out as well.
Right, so I will kind of take a reverse approach to answering your question, because of course in the arts, been here all my life, as you said, and of course through TPAC we are trying our best to create avenues for employment, create viability for who want to be arts a career. Now, why should people who have studied and you've already taken it on, why should you come to this workshop? Because I also think that certain measure of I want to say towards work that speaks to us as a people and take that work. We don't have enough writers that are writing about the Trinidad, the Caribbean story, and then it's a big in this season of heritage. Of course, you're going to be inundated with so many different stories, and I don't know how to be so calm. I am on the edge and excited in this period because I'm hearing it, and that's what I'm hoping. Those who have chosen a pathway for their lives, let's get into the stories.
Right. And how, does investment in this particular area, like, script writing and playwriting, assist with the growth of the overall Heritage Festival over time?
Well, what we need to do is one, advancing the storytelling. So we know that we learn about sitting at the feet of our heroes, and that should never die, that should continue. And there are mechanisms. What we did now, we did more people taking these stories and telling them the international map. And sometimes one of the greatest ways for them to access it. Because there are some people who still want to pick up something physically and read, or technology now. The point is, there are people in international shores who access our culture through the written. I think it should be something that we serious investment in. I think as the TRHA, we need to have more writers. We need to have published work about today.
Right, and even as TPAC sits, as part of the Tobago Heritage Festival and making its recommendations to how the festival can be improved, do you see possibly there being a book festival included in the Tobago Heritage Festival in the future where, persons who have written particular local-based content or heritage-based content can come together and, even if it's just to showcase some of the literature that they have already had in their library for a long time that reflects Tobago's authentic culture? Do you see something like that playing a part in Tobago's heritage moving forward?
I would say definitely, and I would say that because you said it within a statement, I truly believe a very important. I agree with you, and there are local. Let's not think that there are. What we need is. I'm actually I'm reading a book, not from but the book is written by someone I think from Plymouth, and it's an interesting Tobago story. I also was reading a book by a young writer, Gabriel, who had covered published a play experience in Panwell and so on. So people are writing. So we are very, perhaps we need a forum to bring them together. Let us see what they are writers in Tobago. Let's bring their work to one place. Let's read, let's share, let's offer new opinions. So that's a very interesting, I think, addition that should be welcomed.
Yeah, I think that would be a great part of the Tobago Heritage Festival. And I know that there are some older persons who have books from, the period of the heritage that we reference. And if we can see the written version of what we are often seeing on the stage, or even if we have some of those stage plays like, that Lescato folk tales are being written, these are things that, help to extend and, maintain that history moving forward, and us being able to, traverse geographic time and space, because we are here in Tobago, we have the festival here, we want people to come to Tobago to experience it, but it's almost impossible for everyone to come to Tobago at the same time. And so that having it written, helps us to preserve it in time, but also helps us to, be globally exposed and, have persons from all over.
Let me add one more thing to what you're saying that just kind of popped into my mind. We are building productions, we're doing this kind of work requires very. So having these kinds of forums to expose people to writings is critical. I know that there are many people who perhaps don't know about Susan Craig James volume that basically telegraph and chronologize Tobago's history, culture, practices. The Susan Craig books that are like Bibles to us who are creating culture. And we actually writing more books. So we actually need to encourage writing and reading for research as so that we can really kind of richen the texture of the.
Excellent. When it comes to encouraging young persons to get into film and creative arts, what is being done currently to encourage more youths to go down that path?
Well, I would take my personal responsibility in terms of my own creation. I like to post a lot of that, not just about what is happening internationally, but what is also happening within the region and locally in the space, because young people may have the desire and they don't necessarily see a lot of things happening. So I try to post and keep things relevant. Also, of course, through TPAC, we have our initiative, the festival that we had last year that we're bringing back again this year, the Force Festival, that makes space for young people to just dive into the art and be nurtured by mentors. They could test out equipment, they could do a number of different things. So I think it's really about just continuing these initiatives, whetting their appetite, because if you tell them, listen, as a young creative, you have a responsibility to run. Well, while that is true, you have a responsibility. It starts with your own desire, your own. Even if it's just simply, I want to take my camera phone and have fun creating images. Then the next step is them to understand, how can these images be lined up into a story that you want to tell? What do you feel passionate about? What do you want to see? And we can begin to develop more younger voices that are telling different points of what is the collective Tobago story.
Right, and your workshop is happening today between the hours of 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. Now, we're in a time where we're seeing more and more of those skits online go viral and persons becoming multi-millionaires just over being consistent with those small skits online and being consistent with them both locally and internationally. Is there any, part of your contribution during this workshop that is going to touch on that, specifically for the young persons who are interested in utilizing social media to drive their writing?
Right. So I'll share a little joke with you about how creatives hate the word skit. I almost flinched there. So that was very funny that she used it. So this workshop does not necessarily do that. However, I will be referencing a few of them. And it's simply because our attendees to know, even with these short form, we still have a character. We still have an intent. You have to follow the journey, even if it's in 30 seconds. It is very possible. Right? This is a moment in time that you are choosing to highlight, and you give us the character. Because one example, when you go to a movie, the first thing that you talk about after leaving isn't you. People actually say, "Oh," that. And then it gets into the character's engagement and action. So, in short form, it's building your stories through your characters, make them believable, make them relatable, and make them livable. So I will be referencing in this workshop that goes short form content.
Excellent. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back as we chat more about this Keeping Literary Traditions Alive workshops that are happening at the Tobago Library in Scarborough, and this is brought to you by the Tobago's Writers Guild as well as Tobago Festival as a part of the 2025 Heritage Festival. Guys, you're going to be back right after this, so see you soon.
My name is Tina Macmillan, your last year's third place winner and Miss Photogenic for last year's Miss Heritage Personality Show. And this year, I want to carry you with me for my Tobago Heritage experience. I'll be hosting With Tobago Updates, bringing you live coverage behind the scenes and also their giveaways, tickets to the heritage events, and a 2-night stay to the Manzolina Grand. So you need to stay locked on to Tobago Updates on all their social media platforms, Keena Macmillan on Facebook and originalmedusa.tt on TikTok. My Tobago Heritage experience with Tobago Updates. Stay tuned.
Do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back. Do something and roll back, come let me reel. I make a brush back. Do something and do something.
Hello, New York. Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, I see 10 bottle of rum, DJ start the thing, let me jump. Cause I see girls, I see fun, I see winding up in the sun, to a man. DJ start the thing, let we ramage. When my team touch down, everything get wild. Hey, hey, hey. Take out your flag and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up. Fling it up, fling it up high. Hey, hey, hey. Start to jump up and fling it up. Take out something and fling it up.
Hair goals, we've got 'em. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more. Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy filled us.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. This morning we continue our conversations and we have been chatting with the CEO of TPAC, Mr. Gerard Primer. Good morning and welcome back. Now this morning we're talking about, that workshop that you would be facilitating today between the hours of 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. I just want you to remind persons why it's so important to come out and be a part of these sessions and what they can look forward to.
Right. So this is a chance for all people who are interested in writing and perhaps were a little bit afraid of taking the first step. Maybe those who are a little bit intimidated by the format, or those who have all the things in order and they want to come and just add to the discussion. This is for everyone who loves the written word and who has an investment in writing about Tobago's stories, Tobago's culture. Please come out and let's share together.
Expanding this type of work, do you see other similar works or other similar workshops being done in the future?
Right, so I missed the first part of the question.
No, I asked if you see similar workshops happening throughout the year outside of the Heritage Festival.
Oh, definitely. Because remember at the top we said, you can't learn everything in 3 hours. All right. This is really me kind of whetting appetites, getting you kind of into the machinery, so to speak, So I would want to encourage it. And if it's not done through the Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago Writers Guild, who are very interested in doing so, I would also be kind of putting myself forward to do a few things as well. But the Tobago Writers Guild, they have expressed interest in continuing. I'm very happy for that. Very thankful that they have taken these steps. And we definitely need to have more of these. So I am very much available and welcome to help out.
Would this be facilitated by TPAC as well? And what other type of workshops and sessions can we see possibly coming and being open to the public so that we don't wait until the Heritage Festival is here to prepare, but we prepare persons so that they can then feel confident enough to want to participate in the festival and want to help to expand that festival? Because, I'm assuming we're moving towards a place where persons take greater ownership over the Tobago Heritage Festival, leaving less responsibility on the Tobago Festivals Commission, and persons kind of having that individual responsibility to drive the growth of the festival and the industry on a whole.
Right. So I'm very happy that you asked that question because TPAC actually has already begun doing this. Right. So when we had that first Tomac festival, I am one of the presenters who spoke on Tobago's writing, screenwriting, and so on. And that was a TPAC initiative. Right. TPAC also just recently returned from the Caribbean Film Festival that was in Trinidad, of which I was a panelist, speaking on Caribbean cinema and, of course, the creation. Additionally, at that festival, there was an honor taking literary work and creating screenplay. We see the value in it. So TPAC is definitely going to continue. We work very closely with the company, Tobago Festivals Commission, and we will continue to offer services. As a matter of fact, while it was an idea, and I am going to put it into the public space, but I am being held responsible for making it happen. And I'm, of course, calling on Mr. Kinko and let's outside of our workshops to assist with writing. Through TPAC, we can also offer writers support. If you have your script for the festival, need some additional eyes and some assistance, we will create a system to contact us, book a session, and we'll assist you in developing your screenplay or your stage play and getting it to the stage it needs. Yeah, so I am committed. TPAC is ready to do the work, and of course we are going to be holding hands with the festival system in making this thing happen.
Okay, and even as the festival evolves and technology is increasing, do you see they possibly where most of what is going to be happening within the Tobago Heritage Festival may just be virtual? It may simply be that, Lescato, they are releasing a film instead of the actual play where you go and you sit in the audience and you watch it, where WIM having that Wake and Bongo, you might just be seeing them release that short form content, or it may be that type of format as time evolves to go with the time, as opposed to it being in the format that it is in today. And what type of mechanisms can we begin to put in place to look at the festival evolving with the times and with the technology?
Right, so that's a very heavy question and I love it. Let me tell you why. That, in essence, I think is one of the themes that this year's opening night production treated with, right? And you ended your question in the way I think we should be thinking about it. I don't think it's going to be a situation where we'll have a fully virtual festival, even though they already did that during the COVID period. We were forced to do that. And the Festivals Commission rose to the occasion and very beautifully captured content that was streamed. There is room for that, and that should definitely continue. That's how we're going to reach international markets. But I will say this much, and I'm drawing from my experience when I used to work with Miss Alma Gordon Holder, Miss Anthony Blackman, Miss Monica Henry. We created a living that was part of the heritage experience in the past. There were students who visited us from foreign schools, international schools as far as Norway, and they came to immerse themselves in this festival. I'm saying that to say that even we have our sisters and brothers in Trinidad who are still not too. There's room for that physical engagement. That physical engagement has to continue, even as a matter of keeping our traditions alive. There's a certain kind of energy transference that happens with the tactile engagement. Get your hand dirty, get your feet dirty when you go up Charleville and dance the cocoa. You need to do these physical things. However, this festival to me is fodder for such amazing content. I'm actually writing about 3 different things that can be connected to a different village experience. That's big. That's how valuable I think the Heritage Festival is. There's room for both. We can have a hybrid festival that does 2 things.
Excellent. I'm glad that you said that in that way, so that persons know that we are not running away from the festival as it is, but
No.
talking about that evolution that goes with that increase in technology, that time, and again crossing time and geographic boundaries to ensure that we reach the world. And we want to thank you so much for your time this morning. We want to remind persons that you are hosting and facilitating that session today on script writing at the Tobago Library, and that's happening in the library in Scarborough. And you can be a part of that session. Again, it's free. It's now free, so there's no barrier. The only thing that you have to invest is your time. And this is happening from 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And, you can come in and be a part of that session. Remember, space is limited, so the earlier you get there, the better it is for you. You want to be a part of this. You want to be able to pick the brain of some of our masterminds in the industry and rub shoulders with persons who are also doing just as you're doing or have similar dreams and ideas as you. And so we want to thank you again for coming on this morning, and we hope that persons do come out and support this Keeping Literary Traditions Alive session that you're hosting with the Tobago Writers Guild and the Tobago Festivals Commission. Guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussion, but we want to remind you that tonight, Iconic Mass is hosting their watch party, and that's happening at Lost Restaurant and Bar at the Gulf City Mall in Lowlands. Now, that's the Iconic Mass is hosting their watch party. So this is a different version of the traditional Carnival launch party. They're having a watch party. Something different, something interesting, something that you want to be a part of, that big reveal, so that you get to find out what your options are for that Tobago October Carnival. Now, Iconic is kickstarting their, mass launch tonight, and that's at 8 p.m. You have your opportunity to be a part of that. Go and see if anything looks like it might suit you for this October Carnival. And guys, we want to thank you again for being a part of this morning's discussion. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.